Hi there, my name's Aaron Short. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's already May the 1st. Can you believe it? May the 1st, 2023. Don't forget, it'll soon be May the 4th, which is Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. And only a few weeks ago to my birthday. So send those guitars to PO Box Aaron Short Music. I appreciate it. Just kidding. Don't send guitars to that address. They won't go anywhere. All right, let's get started. I'm going to come here and say hello. We've got T here early. Hello all in the chat. Greetings from Ireland. Good to see you, T. How's Ireland treating you? Are you near the Loudon factory? Let us know. David Belcher is here. Good afternoon. Aaron and everyone in the chat. I hope you all had a good weekend and a good start to your week. Good to see you, David. I'll tell you what I've been up to after I say hi to everybody. Zane says, good evening, Aaron and everyone. Greetings and regards from England, UK. Bernard Smith here. The flag's ready for the coronation of Charles III. Wonderful. It's fancy seeing David Belcher here. I know, T. He's never here, is he? Bidowen, hi, Aaron and all. Good to see you. Rosanna, good evening. Aaron and everyone in the chat. John, hi, Aaron and everyone in the chat. Awesome. So, I had a busy weekend. I played 3 shows on Saturday. Let me tell you about those shows, because I used the eVerse 8, and I was thinking about this. I want to talk about at some point, like the Bose S1 Pro versus the JBL versus the eVerse. I've been using the eVerse. It does so well in smaller rooms. It does well in larger rooms as well, but I'd rather have a dedicated, more powerful PA speaker or system for a larger room, I think. But it certainly did all 3 shows well. It was a very small room, a slightly larger room, and a big, fairly large size room with 100 guests and a high ceiling. So it did the volume okay at the last one, but it didn't maybe have the power of the spread maybe of a, you know what I mean? It's hard to explain. It's not even a power thing. It's just something about the way it throws the more powerful speakers have the headroom and throw the sound out. So it was absolutely fine. Great speaker all round. Highly recommend it. But still like to have a traditional setup as well. So Horses for courses. It's hard to recommend one way or the other. The great thing about the Everse 8 is the app is built into it. So if there's any problem with sound, you can just get your phone out and jump in and correct those problems. With something like a QSC speaker, there's no app built in, so you're going to have to use an external device to do the sound, but you've got a more professional, more high headroom speaker. Ideally, I guess you'd have 2 speakers, maybe 2 Everse 8s, or I don't know. The problem with gear now is there's so many options, it's hard to know where to start, isn't it? It's hard to know what to choose. And yeah, so my voice is pretty tired from all the playing and the running around. But I'm not complaining, I'm just letting you know. Also, the cats woke me up at 3. You know, the cats haven't adjusted to the time change. The clocks changed months ago, didn't they? Weeks ago. And the cats still think their food comes out at 5 when it comes out at, or they think it comes out at 4 when it comes out at 5. So they've that's quite annoying, frustrating. So that's my weekend in a nutshell. And who else is here? George, good to see you. Alabama, awesome. Sweet home Alabama. Lee's good to see you, buddy. What's that fretboard there? Looks nice. Paul said everything's sounding and looking good. Thank you. I got a filter on today because I'm wearing the same t-shirt, so I thought I'd hide it. I might take it off later. Going for the rustic look. Very nice. So yeah, let me know what you want to talk about. So I'll go through my housekeeping to start with. So the other day I thought I'm going to redo my Teespring store because I want to add some new products and nothing crazy new, nothing no new designs, but some really cool. I really like these. Let me show you what these are. I'm really pleased with this. So what I did was I took away a lot of the designs only temporarily, but I just felt like the problem with this is all these designs came up onto the YouTube channel and just flooded the channel. Because under every video, excuse my speech today, under every video you can see all the products. And it was too many products with all the different t-shirts, all different colors, all different logos on the back. So I just put it down to this one t-shirt for now in these 4 colors. I can bring back the other ones in the future, but I wanted to streamline. By the way, it does frustrate me that on Teespring, when you zoom in, it looks so pixelated. It doesn't look like that in person. Teespring really need to use higher resolution images on their marketing because it would sell the product better, right? Not sure why they do that. I must tell them. But anyway, so now we've just got this t-shirt with the I Smell Wood on the back in black, pink. I think is pink a new color? No, maybe not. Navy and red. Okay, so we've got 4 of those in all different sizes. So that was there before, but I just streamlined it a bit just to make it simpler. Now, if we go back again, there's something here I really love. Look at this. Remember the old Soundhole Sniffer sticker? It was a square, and it had the graphic printed on the square. So when you peeled it off, it was a square. It didn't make any sense to me. I always wanted it to be the shape of the logo. And I realized on Teespring now, you can do this. It's a new thing, I think, or I didn't see it before. So what it is now, I think this is my favorite thing. The sticker is actually cut out with a slight border around it. So when you stick it on something now, it will take the form of that shape. I think this is awesome. So this is my favorite thing now. And that is yeah, I really like that. I've ordered one of these to check out myself. Should be here in a few weeks. They're a bit slow, Teespring. They're quite busy apparently. But I really like it. Very happy with that. I think that's going to look great. So really pleased with that. So I got rid of the square one. It didn't make sense to me. This is the new and improved version. And then I've been wearing a lot of hats lately, so I decided to make a cap. This is called a dad cap. And I do wish the logo was larger. That is the biggest they'll let me make it. I would like the logo to fill the whole front of the cap like most caps do. I don't know why they don't let you do that. But anyway, I made it as big as I could. And I do like the way it's embroidered on. It's not printed on. So that's nice. So there's the cap. So I'll be wearing that in a video soon. I ordered that to check out as well. And then the mug is the same. With the mug, I wish they had a bigger mug. I'm so critical. I can sit here and criticize anything, even mugs, let alone guitars. But there we go. I really like that lineup. 4 things that I think are really cool. I could add more to it. I might do. I just wanted to throw a few new things in, and I wanted to simplify it. So on every video, you see these at the bottom of the video, and you can purchase them. And I try not to make the prices too high, but at the end of the day, Teespring have to make it, ship it, and then they give me, you know, a few dollars that's left over. So, you know, it is what it is. You're helping me. You help me out if you get something. So I will. Hopefully, I'll have the hat and the sticker in a couple of weeks' time, and I can show it on here. So that's new. That's new stuff. And then a lot of people are texting me saying that the HiFi pickup is shipping this week. They're very happy about that. So I'm looking forward to hearing what other people say about this pickup. I really like it, but it's a single source pickup. I prefer a dual source pickup. They are working on a dual source version, which will be the version that I'm more interested in, but that won't be around for another, you know, 12, 24 months, or who knows how long it'll take. So, great solution. I hope you've been following the videos I've posted about it on this one. And I'm excited this week to see what other people say about it, because obviously I've only tested it in 2 guitars at a few different venues. I'm looking forward to my colleagues and peers and friends telling me what they think of it in their guitars at their venues. So that's exciting stuff. And then I've got some information on my electric guitar, but I'll come back to that once we do some more chat. Okay. I agree, Pooh. I don't understand why you would have a website selling merchandise and use low resolution images of the products. It's absolutely ridiculous, right? It really bugs me. Eventually, I might move my stuff over to another platform, but let me turn this off. Eventually, I might move stuff over to another platform, but I'm not. It took me too long to set that up. I'll look into that another time. But yeah, the laser cut sticker is very cool. David wants a hat. Yeah, I want a hat too. I wear hats a lot now when I go out in the sun, and when I go out and haven't got time to wash my hair, I wear a hat. So I'm looking forward to wearing that hat. Oh, T is at the opposite side of the country to Loudon. Okay. That'd be good to visit that factory. It's looking smart. Thank you. Rexomatic is in Phoenix. How you doing, Rex? I was playing the Rain song the other day. I like the hat. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting the hat. John Martin Artist Edition guitar. Okay. Did you buy that? Sepia Aaron, yeah. I got different effects here, look. I got the blur. Well, that having the blur on 1% really affects your eyes. Anyway, electric guitars. Let's talk about electric guitars today. Now, I've got no questions, so I'm going to talk about electric guitars, because I've been doing a few things to my Strat behind me, and I'm still selling the Reverend. And the funny thing is, the reason I'm bringing this up is, well, obviously I want to sell the Reverend, but aside from that, the mods I'm doing to my Stratocaster /S, I'm actually. The Sir guitar has got some pretty nasty tune. I always have a problem with tuners. The tuners, you have to turn them half a turn before they engage. I'm going to change them. They use staggered tuners, so I'm going to need string trees. So I'm going to get string trees, and then I'm going to get the Highwood saddles. Maybe David can tell us about those. I've never used the Highwood saddles, but basically on the Sir, the screws you use to adjust the saddles cut into my hand, and I hate it. So I'm putting Highwoods on there. I don't know why these 3 mods are not done on guitars like Sir guitars. I really don't. And having said that, looking at the Reverend, which you can kind of see behind me, I'm going to put it on the screen, they have addressed that. So, you know, you're going to say, well, why don't you keep it then? I'm not keeping it. I want to keep the fenders. You know, I'm a snob, all that stuff. You know, I'm stuck in the past. But Reverend, to their due credit, have fixed these things. And let me show you what I mean on here. Then I'll show you what I ordered to fix mine. So there's 3 things that I think a Strat should have. The first one is locking tuners. So I just put a set of Fender vintage locking tuners on one of my guitars, and they really help the tuning a lot. Now, I've seen people say they don't help the tuning. I completely disagree. On this guitar, it made a huge difference. So mine don't have the wheels on the back like the Reverend do. These are more modern style. Mine have the the thing on the top. So you have to loosen it with a coin or a screwdriver. Then you just tune it up as normal. Put the string through all the way, tune it up as normal, cut the string off, done. If you loosen the string, it pulls out. If you break a string, you have to use a coin or a screwdriver to remove the string by turning that mechanism on the top. That's a bit fiddly, but totally worth it for the tuning stability and ease of stringing the guitar. So I'm really happy with that. So look, the Reverend has those, and the Reverend has the wheels. They're the more modern version. You see those wheels on the back? They are better in a way, I guess, because if you break a string, you can just turn the wheel and you haven't got to use a screwdriver. So I will be keeping a nickel or a dime in my guitar case at all times for that emergency with the strings. But hey, you know, they look cool. They're vintage style. Vintage style always looks cool and is never necessarily the most practical option. So the Reverend has those on there. So there we go. That's really great. First thing, I think everyone should have locking tuners on their guitar. I haven't had them in the past that much, but I've realized from yesterday how much I need them. The next thing is the string tree. Now, a lot of companies now, like Sir, are not using string trees. And I've been researching this, and I find it really interesting. So the string tree is applying pressure to the high E, the B, and the G string. You can see here that string tree has got one screw, and it's holding down the 3 strings, right? The thinner strings. So traditionally, you had a string tree on, say, a Fender Strat, which would have the B and the E. But Reverend are also doing the G. Now, it's really funny that I've been playing guitar for so many years, and this stuff never bothered me. I guess most guitars I've owned have had a string tree on the 2 top strings. Well, the Sir does not have a string tree, and to be fair, it doesn't really need one. If you use staggered tuners, so they get lower in height as they go up the headstock, if they're staggered, meaning the pressure of the string has got more downward pressure on it, and you cut the nut just right, you don't need a string tree, they say. I think you still do, because on the Sir, the G, when you play it open, is still pinging a little bit. So, and all Fenders have, well, some Fenders don't have string trees now, but most, 90% of them do. I think you need one. I think that downward pressure really helps the sound of the strings. And yeah, even on the Sir, if I'm finger picking, that G, it doesn't sound right. So again, looking at this guitar now in hindsight, Reverend fixed that. They put a and this is a Gil Paris signature, so maybe he's been through all this like I'm now going through it. He put that on there. I think it's essential, and I'll show you after this the Stu Mac stuff that I ordered. Stu Mac, who is a great company. Had great experience with them for guitar parts and things, Luthery tools. They sell one of these for a Fender, and you just take out the one you've got and put that in, and it covers 3 strings and not the 2. So that's another mod that I would definitely do. So those 2 things I think are essential. And you can disagree with me in the comments, let me know why. But from my experience with a couple of guitars lately, this is really important stuff. So that's the second mod. And then the third one, which they've also done, basically, is the Highwood saddles. This isn't the Highwood saddles, but this is the Wilkinson bridge, which is a very, very stable and reliable bridge. It's also soft under your hand. Fender bridges and the Sir bridges have these adjustment screws that stick into your hand. It's so annoying. You can cut them short, so they don't. But with the Highwood saddles, there's nothing there. It's just the smooth top. So these 3 things for me, I've been thinking are essential. Why don't Sir, why don't even Fender, why doesn't everyone do this now on all guitars? It's the kind of mod now that I'd want to do on any guitar that I own. And indeed, I am going to do it, right? So the funny thing is, I was looking on Stu Mac, and I found a kit. And this kit is actually those very things again. So I guess the little revelation I had this weekend has been had by many, many people. I think it's called the Squire kit. So the idea with this is you buy a Squire guitar, and you can use these mods to make it a really great guitar. Hang on. Here we go. They call it this. This isn't what I ordered. This is great value though, but this isn't what I ordered because I want to have the I want to have the different tuners here. But this is a great kit, you see. You get the tuners, high quality tuners with that wheel on them, so the more modern version. You get the this is a G, I've never seen this before. So normally a string tree is just those 2 strings you see at the top 2 strings. So on here it's covering 3. Actually, that's a bass, isn't it? But well, whatever. So on here it's covering 3 strings because, again, that G always sounds weird. That is a great upgrade. If you've already got a string tree, for a few bucks you can buy this thing. It's like $6. So you can buy this and it will give you 3 instead of 2. I think that's amazing. I can't believe all these years of the gear thing and I still find stuff like this. It just blows my mind, you know. I'll never get bored. And then they also give you the Highwood saddles. These ones here. So I haven't tried these. David's mentioned them before. As you can see, you see that? There's no screws. There's no adjustment screws sticking out the top. They're sticking out the bottom. So on a Fender style guitar, they stick out the top. And actually on my Fender, it doesn't hurt me because they've put the 2 lower E ones shorter. But on the Sir, it really hurts. And Sir really confused me. They make amazing stuff. But I thought they're supposed to be like a modern equivalent company that fixed the little issues with the design of the past. But on my guitar, they haven't. It's worse. Like, it just really sticks out. And they offered to cut them shorter and send me some shorter ones. But I'm not going to mess around. I'm going to use these Highwoods. And the other thing about the Highwoods is there's quite an easy upgrade. But they also have that line. You see there's a line cut in the middle? Because normally the string will be able to slide around the whole width of that saddle. But they've cut grooves into these ones. So the string will stay in the same position. So there we go. I think we can confirm. Well, I'm going to say it. I think this is a great thing to do. And the fact that StewMac sell the kit, and again, I'm not going to get the kit. I'm going to get the vintage style tuners, these Highwoods, and they do different colors depending on your guitar. And I'm also going to get the string tree. Definitely get the string trees. I'm also going to get locking tuners for my Cole Clark as well, because they make the Cole Clark tuners in a locking version. And remember I said a few months ago I had a problem with tuning on the Cole Clark? I think it might help with that too. I don't know. That'll be an interesting experiment to do. But apparently they weigh the same, so it's not like they're any heavier. So I think these are great upgrades. You know, in the past I've said I don't want to upgrade. I want to buy something and just use it, and I still feel that way. And I think that should be the case. It really bugs me that you can buy a custom shop guitar for $3 grand, $4 grand, and then want to turn around and do these little upgrades. Again, I really don't understand why, especially the boutique companies like Sir, haven't developed or used something like Highwoods. I don't understand why they're using those vintage style ones that are really uncomfortable. I just find it really weird. But anyway, the great news is for a couple $100 you can fix these problems and upgrade your guitar. Just takes a bit of time and effort, of course, to do it. But let me see what you think. But my point really was the fact that StewMac sell that kit, and the fact that the Reverend has those 3 mods baked in. So there we go. I'll take my hat off. I'll take my new hat off to Reverend. They've solved a lot of issues with that guitar. They've got those 3 mods in that guitar. It weighs 7 pounds. It has the Fishman Fluence noiseless pickups. It's great. It's just that I want to play a Fender because I'm crazy. But what a great design now I think about it. I didn't think about that before. They've ticked all those boxes for like, that cost me what, $1,500? And then you can spend $4 grand on a custom shop that weighs 8 pounds, a pound heavier, digs into your hand, hasn't got locking tuners, hasn't got a string tree. The top strings don't ring out correctly. But I want the Fender, so that's why I'm selling it. But my point is, that's the way I wish Fender and Sir and these companies would go. Modernize these things. Make these things standard. Make the guitars sound better. I don't understand what's going on. So John says, should I say hello? No, don't say hello. Yeah, of course, say hello. Noise Buffet, I like that name. I like the cat too. Once again, played a Breedlove at GC, and it smoked everything there. I haven't played a Breedlove, not for a long time. But it's the same point, what I'm making about the Reverend. There are guitars out there that are clearly better instruments than the big brands. But, like I always say, I can't help wanting to play those name brands. It's like I wear Levi jeans, which I'm sure is uncool as well. All right. Poo Ninja wants to get a sticker for the bicycle helmet. I'd love to see Poo Ninja with the the Darth helmet with the send-off sticker stuck right on the front of it. That would be great. After practicing with an amp at home, I'm considering an electric solid or semi-hollow so I can hear the amp. Let me just move myself and talk about your question. That's better. After practicing with an amp at home, I am considering an electric solid or semi-hollow guitar so I can hear the amp instead of a blend of amp and sound from the guitar. Alright, a solid body. Yes, of course. Yeah, you know, that's a funny thing. That's a big problem people have. When you play in a room and you're playing your acoustic through a speaker, you're hearing a lot of the acoustic guitar sound as well as the speaker. Whereas when you play a solid body guitar, you might hear the spring noise. That's another thing that bugs me, the springs in these guitars. You hear the springs going zing, zing, zing. And you can buy new springs with foam inside them so they don't do that. Why are they not in the modern guitars? Why have you got to buy all these bits after you bought the $3,000 guitar? I was really ranting about that this week to myself, of course. Now I'm ranting about it to you. But anyway, that's the problem. You hear the amp in the room. So it's like if you're auditioning a pickup or an amp, you can't do it with an acoustic instrument because you're hearing a lot of the acoustic guitar sound. It's like something that really bugs me, and this came up this week as well on my channel, is when someone they're in a small room like this and they're playing the acoustic guitar through an amp, and they've got a camera filming that, because the camera microphone is hearing the amp and the guitar and the pickup, and it's blending them all together. And then you listen on YouTube. Well, that's not, I mean, I guess, to be fair, that is the sound you would hear if you were in that room. But that's not the sound you're going to hear if you've got headphones on. That's not the sound you're going to hear if you're in a big stadium and you're not hearing the sound of the guitar itself. So if you don't want to do that, one way around that is to just use a feedback buster. That's going to mute the acoustic a lot. So a sound hole plug or feedback buster plug. I'm looking for one. I can't see it. That's a great way to go. And then, yeah, of course, that's why the Yamaha silent guitar and an electric guitar is a good way to go, because you don't hear the sound of the guitar itself. So, yeah, I don't blame you. And sometimes I wish that my stage guitar I use at my gigs was a solid body guitar, because you're also going to get no chance of feedback either, which is great. So, David, that is his design, it turns out. That is his design. I think so. Let me just check. String tree. That really blew me away when I saw that. Because some people put 2 string trees on. You got to drill 2 holes. And by the way, I'm not drilling a hole. I'm too scared to do that. I'll get Evan to do that. But some people put 2 string trees on. But you only really need the B, the E, and the G. So with this, you can cover all 3 of those. Now, if we go here again on the desktop, look, check this out. It tells you who designed it. Here we go. Designed by the hardworking techs in Joe Glazer's shop, Music City Bridge. So he actually designed it. Solves the buzzing G problem common to countless Fender guitars. Yes, but it's so bizarre. It's so weird, this gear thing, because I never had a problem with it. I've had a Fender Stratocaster and Telecaster for most of my life. I've had one of those. And I've never thought that G sounded weird on those guitars. And then all of a sudden, when someone said to me, like, you might need a string tree the other week, and I'm suddenly hearing the G, like, bzz, I'm like, that sounds really off. And now I need a string tree. Now I just have to have one. Isn't that bizarre? Sometimes ignorance is bliss. Zane says, what about the vintage locking at the top? What do you think, because they're staggered too, which eliminate the string trees? Mine are not staggered. Yes, you're right. You can get staggered ones, but I think you need a string tree as well. I'd rather not have staggered and have string tree, or maybe both. Like, why not have both? My Sir has staggered with no tree, and it does sound very good, but the G is still a bit funky. So, and it's got to be set up so well to be, you know, apparently if you cut the nut just right, then it's fine. But that's so hard to do. Like, I don't think it's worth messing around with. And even then, on that Sir, which is set up by Sir, which is, you know, some of the best setup work I've ever seen, I still hear it. So I would still throw one on there anyway. Some people really can't stand a string tree. I really don't have a problem with it. And by the way, if you're new to guitar, the reason some people say Gibson headstocks break off. Let me show you what I'm talking about, because I know some people here don't play electric guitar. The thing about a Gibson headstock is, right, if you're a Gibson Les Paul, you don't have a string tree. And the reason is because the way Gibson got around it is they made the headstock of the guitar more of an angle. It gives it more of a break angle over the nut, and that gives it the downward pressure. The problem is all that extra angle can also lead to the headstock breaking off, and that's why people often say that Gibson headstocks can break. I can't find a good picture of one, but basically if I show you this, so here's a Les Paul. What's this weigh? 10 pounds! 10 pounds, 6 ounces. Wow, that's heavy. But anyway, this headstock here, you see there's no string tree, but you've got 3 on each side, and that headstock is actually angled quite a lot down. That's not going straight up. So on a Stratocaster, a Telecaster, the headstock goes pretty much straight. It goes down a little bit. On this Gibson, that headstock angles back quite a lot, and that's why they're more fragile and can break, as far as I'm aware. But that also gives it that additional string tension. Interesting stuff, isn't it? And interesting that we're still using the same designs that we invented come up to 100 years ago. Crazy. Exactly, tradition. Yes, tradition sucks in many ways because it's flawed. It's so flawed. And yet, I love tradition. I'm a total traditionalist. I am. But I do think it's time we moved away from it. I think it's time we moved away from wood, honestly, because we're running out of wood so quickly. It's such a problem. It's so fragile. It's so rare now. I really think more companies should look into alternative materials. So Graphtec is my hardware for choice for saddles, nuts, trees, and tuners. Okay. Yes, they have excellent stuff. John says, I think my Strat is 3 for 3. I know it has the first 2. I've never had one with 3. I actually thought that the Gil Paris had... Oh, it has the 1 long bar, yeah. Yeah. And I've seen some that have 2 and 2. I think the more break angle, the better. I got no problem with it. I really don't mind it. I am dreading having a string tree put on the Sir. I really am, because in case he slips or something. And by the way, they said they wouldn't support it. If you put a string tree on there, we're not going to support your warranty. Well, I don't care. It needs a string tree, so I'm putting it on. Rex says, can you explain what you're hearing and what causes it without a string tree on the G string? It's hard to explain without a demo, and I will try to do a demo at some point because this has become quite the expedition for me this weekend. But basically, if you grab your guitar and you have a Gibson or you have a string tree, if you play those top 3 strings, they just sound tight and clear. If you don't have a string tree, or let's say you have one on the B and the E but not on the G string on a Stratocaster, listen for the G as you play it. Now, it might, if the nut is cut just right, so you get enough break angle, it might sound fine, or you might not have a problem with it. That's great. But on my guitar, I can just hear this slight kind of sitar-y. It's not awful. It's you know, and it's only on the open string. How often do you play an open G string? But on electric guitar, but it's there, and the way I hear it is the finger pick. I was finger picking, like if you play something like Blackbird on the Stratocaster, as you hit that open G string, it can sound like off compared to the other strings, and that's what we're correcting. So I do play like that because I'm an acoustic player, right? I bet if you shred all the time and don't play open chords, don't forget a lot of electric players do not play open chords. They don't stand there and play an open G. So a lot of electric players only play solos. Some lead players in bands only really play up the neck, don't they? They don't play much down the bottom of the neck to stay out of the way of the rhythm guitarist or the bass player. But because acoustic players, like I'm assuming a lot of us here play acoustic as our first, not first instrument, but you know, like me, I make a living playing acoustic guitar, and then I play electric guitar at home for fun. and occasionally play weddings and things with a band, I do happen to play open Gs a lot, and I hear that G string, and it drives me nuts. Now, John has a good point here about the Silver Sky not having these issues. Now, I agree with this about the USA Silver Sky. The import Silver Sky, the SE version, doesn't have the locking tuners, but you're right, the more expensive USA version does have the locking tuners, and they're actually similar in style as well. So you see here's the same thing. You've got that slot on the top. That's how you unlock it. You've also got a grip around it. These are a bit more modern looking. There's a grip around that too, so you can turn it with your fingers. So I used to have these on the PRS years ago. They worked great. I remember that guitar stayed in tune. I remember I once played a Sir with the modern locking tuners on the wheel on the back, and that stayed in tune. So I really think there's something to hear about this. But yes, if you look at this, look, you have 3 aside, not 3 in a row. You have the break angle, you have the locking tuners, and what are they doing for saddles is the question. Hard to see. Are they sticking out or not? You can see there's 2 little holes on each saddle. That is what you turn to raise and lower the string. And it looks like on here that they're like the Hiwoods, like the actual screw is below the metal, so it'll just feel nice and soft. Modern bridges can be this piece of metal, and it looks. People don't like it. It looks really modern. This is what you call vintage style. This looks vintage style, but you're not going to cut your hand up on those. They're going to be very smooth on top. The screw is underneath. It looks like on here, the same as the Hiwoods. The problem with the Fender. Let me just show you here on a Fender Strat. The problem with, you see, this is a modern saddle on the Ultra guitars. So a lot of people don't like this. You see that? That is completely smooth under the hand. That's great. And they use locking tuners with wheels. That's great. And for the headstock, they use a string tree, but only on the 2 strings, but you could buy that Stu Mac one and make it 3 instead. But there you go, you see? And the adjustment is up there too. To get those modern features, you have to buy a very modern guitar, and it weighs 8 pounds 2 ounces. But this is the most modern Fender they make, and a lot of people don't want that. They want the vintage look, they want the vintage style. But this is a modern guitar, so that's why it frustrates me. I'm not against modern guitars, I like them, but I like vintage. I guess what I want is the vintage guitar with those modern things that still look vintage, and you can buy those from Stu Mac, but they don't tend to build them into the guitars at the time. So that was a bad example to show you. Let's choose this one. Here's a vintage guitar, right? So look, check this out. So you've got regular tuners, they're not locking. Okay, you cut the string off, you stick it in a hole, and then turn it. So it's not locking at all. There is a string tree. Some of the custom shops don't have a string tree; they have the staggered tuners. I think that's a mistake, personally. And then the worst thing here is down here. You see those vintage saddles again, and this is you can't really see from the picture, but basically they're probably sticking out. And the worst one is that low E string on the left. If sometimes they're sort of down so low that it's not a problem, and just that one is comfortable, so it's okay. But if it's not, if they're sticking out, it really chews up your hand if you rest your hand on the bridge like I do. So that really is my point. So hopefully that explains things there. Tradition. Yeah, I think I'm more surprised at Sir, because I might be wrong, but I always thought that Sir's idea was to take a traditional instrument and remake it to look the same, but correct the small flaws, which they do. Like, my Sir doesn't fret out, it plays great, it's light, everything about it is cool. The neck feels great, everything, but then it's got those sticking out saddles. I don't understand why they don't fix that. They have their noiseless system, which is an analog way of taking out the noise, which is really cool. I don't have that on mine, I didn't want it, but it does work well. But they don't fix those other little things like the saddles and the tuners. So I don't know. You can get locking tuners on a Sir, but not vintage looking. Noise says, I just find the Breedlove to have harp-like sustain, deep clear bass, and the best finger feel. Maybe due to the string end through the bridge angle. Another thing I want to add to that, Noise, is don't forget that there's so many different kinds of guitars within a brand. I see a lot of people say, I don't like Maton, they're heavy. I don't like Cole Clark, they're quiet. I don't like Martin, they're boomy. I don't like Taylor, they're harsh. I hear all these generalized comments about brands, but that's really not fair. Because it's like saying I don't like Fender because I don't like a Telecaster. Well, they make Stratocasters. They make, different pickup styles, different wood combinations. I see that a lot. I'm not saying you're doing that, but I see that a lot on forums, and it really drives me crazy. And especially some of them are from the past as well. Someone said the other week, I played a bunch of Rain songs and they weighed, £100 or £10. That's not true. Now, some of those things come from truth years back, but things change so much with a lot of companies, don't they? Not all companies like Fender, but I'm not being mean. I'm a big Fender fanboy. So I've done that. I've put like foam, but my point, Poo Ninja, is I think I don't think it's acceptable to spend, let's say, $5,000 on a custom shop Fender, and then to stick toilet paper in the springs so they don't rattle, and buy new tuners so they stay in tune, and then replace this and replace that. You see, I want to get the guitar, take it out of the case, and go. But that seems very... I mean, obviously, to do that, you'd have to order your own custom shop. I totally get that. But some of these things just seem ridiculous to me. My voice is flangy. Flangy? Oh. No, my voice is tired. It might just be my voice is tired. Let me just check I've got everything working correctly. Universal Audio, Thunderbolt, yes. No other programs open. No. Is there another microphone on? No. No, my voice is really scratchy today. I did too much singing at the weekend, and I got woke up early by the cats. So that's what it is, I think. Yes, exactly. Thank you. Perception becomes reality. Poo Ninja says, I never heard the spring noise that was pointed out. Now I've got bits of foam stuff in odd places. That's the thing. Sometimes these YouTube channels do more harm than good. Because when I first had a Stratocaster, I never heard the spring noise. And you don't when you're playing a gig. You only hear it when you're at home. Also, now we play at home more, right? In quiet conditions. So you hear it. On an acoustic guitar, I never heard the noise from the strings at the headstock. I showed you a device a few weeks ago to fix that. Now I hear it. So these things do come with experience. I guess it's the same with anything. When you first learn to drive, you just get in the car and drive, and over the years you learn how to check the oil, how to check different things about the car, the best way to do things. You get more analytical about it all. So I totally understand that. And some things we fixate on too much because we're putting them under the microscope, especially if you bought a new guitar. You're putting it under the you're not just playing the guitar, you're thinking, is this a great guitar? Am I happy with it? Do I want to keep it? Do I need to mod it? Is there a problem? You're really thinking, rather than just when you're a kid and you just play the guitar, or maybe even now, you just play the guitar. So I get that. But hey, that's life. You do, as you learn more, you do understand more, and you have more thoughts about these things. It's a mic thing. It can't be. I've got the Universal Audio Thunderbolt as my input device. I've got the headset going into channel 2. And my clock is set to the wrong setting, but I'm not going to change it now in case I mess it up. My clock should be set to the ADAT, and it's not. So that might be that. But I'm not going to change it because I might break everything. Let me try this. Hello, 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 hello. 1 2 1 2 1 2. I don't know. I don't think so. I thought I was hearing, or in my, I don't want to jinx it. Everything's fine. You need to find a Strat with a slotted headstock. Wood is beautiful. I prefer Graphtec saddles. It has locking pieces at the top too. Graphtec is robot bone. I know what you're talking about. John says I would get the SE Silver Sky and get the PRS locking tuners for $100. That's a great idea. Because I was talking to a friend of mine earlier, and we were saying that we prefer the neck. The import Silver Sky is much cheaper. I prefer the neck on it. I prefer the weight. They're generally lighter. The only thing is, yeah, it's the same thing as the Fender thing. I want to prefer the USA one. But the fact that the imports are lighter, more affordable, and I prefer the neck shape really throws a spanner in the works with that. Ultimately, I don't have one anyway. I just want the Fender. I do have the Sir. I like the Sir, but some things about it bug me a little bit. But it's a good instrument. And then I wouldn't mind the Silver Sky. I just wish I wish the USA Silver Skies were better than the offshore ones. It doesn't make just doesn't make sense to me. So that is a great option to put those tuners in. I think when they came out, people said you couldn't do that, but I'm pretty sure that you can. John says but by the way, Doc, my voice is, I don't know what happened to me. My voice is really tired today. It really is. I can hear it. So I think that is what you're hearing. I'll listen back when we're done. But I think it's that. I think I really overdid that on the weekend. The bridge saddles on a Telecaster is ridiculous on your hand. Exactly. And the Tele can be even worse. Those 3 screws sticking right through the bridge. What the heck? Why would you even sell a guitar like that? So what people do is they get a saw and they cut them off so they don't stick out anymore. But I mean, what kind of... This is my point. Are we crazy? Some of these guitars are $5,000, $7,000 now, and they've got screws sticking out of them. But it's historically correct. Yeah, it may be historically correct, but it doesn't mean it's good, right? That's one thing that I think do improve on. They have the screws shorter there. But some of the vintage Telecasters have the screws sticking right up. 3 big screws basically sticking like that, and then your hand goes on top. Ow. After playing flat tops, do you have trouble adjusting to a lower fretboard radius, as often found with electric guitars? No, not really. The only thing that bothers me is I often get the string fretting out on a like a vintage radius. That's another thing that I don't like. And I think the radius on the Reverend is, I think, 12, 11 or 13 or something. It's higher. So again, it's got a great radius too. It's pretty flat. So the way the radius works is the lower the number, the more rounded it is, the more vintage style it is. So again, a vintage Strat will be like 7.5 radius. A modern Strat would be 11, 12, 13. It means the fretboard is flatter. People like the rounded fretboard because you can put your hand around it. They like the feel of it. But then the strings on the thin strings can fret out because it's rounded. A flat radius fretboard can be faster and not fret out so much. So I know it sounds crazy because I'm basically saying I want a flat fretboard, I want the modern appointments, but I want a vintage instrument. But that surely a lot of people feel that way. It can't just be me, right? I mean, I could just get a modern guitar like the Reverend, right? But I want the vintage guitar, but I don't want the vintage problems. And that's why I was hoping, I'm sure there are companies that do it. I was hoping that the Sir would address those, and it doesn't address all of them for me. So there we go. Tom Anderson S-style guitars. That could be an option, and another brand that I haven't tried yet. But then again, with me, and I'm very open about this, I want a Fender. So that's why my new thing right now is to find a Fender that's light and feels good with the neck shape, and then fix those 3 things that I mentioned earlier. And that's exactly what I'm doing. And I think I'll be good. The mic is compressed? Yeah, it should be. It's got a compressor on it. So, John, is your Silver Sky the SE or the Core? Says, my Silver Sky is £7 and blows away any Squire Strat. I'm sure, but actually, I played a Mexican Strat the other day, which I loved. You know, Mexican Strats, I mean, think about it. The parts are basically the same as the USA ones, right? And they're not made that far away either. So really, it's more about, I mean, I've played $200 guitars, Harley Bentons are amazing. It's more about, do you like the guitar or not? So I agree, it's funny that the Mexican Strats now can be like over $1,000 new. It's a lot of money, but that is the world right now, isn't it? Yeah, you see, I tried that Ultra guitar. I bought a used one in the lockdown. I didn't like it. I didn't like the feel of the neck. The noiseless pickups worked well, but I missed the chime of the unnoiseless pickup, the noise pickups. And yeah, I just didn't like it. Didn't like the feel of it. It's just bizarre, isn't it? Like I was just saying, Doc, the Reverend's behind me. It's still up for sale. I'm really trying not to take it down to Guitar Center and just, you know, give it to them. So the Reverend ticks all my boxes. It's light. It stays in tune. It's got a flat radius. It's got locking tuners. It's got a 3-string tree. It's got a great saddle and bridge. Whammy bar doesn't go out of tune. And it's got completely noiseless active pickups. I'm not saying I hate it. I don't. It's a great guitar. But as part of my downsizing and purging, I don't want it anymore. I don't want it here. I want to sell that and buy the upgrades or the mods for the couple of Fenders I have and make those more like that while being guitars that I like the name on the headstock and the feel. And it's not just the name. I do like the necks on the Fenders I have left. I do like the pickups. And I like the fact I haven't got to charge it. Although charging the Reverend is only like every 6 months. It's actually a great design. Yeah. I don't know. I know it's very frustrating for me. It's a real problem. I haven't looked at the Andersons, no. But again, I know it'll be the same thing. It'll be the same thing. I will want the Fender. Oh, I went back in time. Excuse me. Check it on the Zach channel. What's Zach? The Reverend is perfect. No, well, you know, this is the thing about gear, isn't it? Some gear on paper is perfect, but you don't like it. So, and it's not that I don't like it. It's just that I don't know. I don't like the feel of it for sure. I definitely prefer the feel of even my Mexican Telecaster on the neck. So there's that. But some people might love it. And I want the Fender. Like if I downsize, I basically want to have Martin's, Fenders, a Gibson, and maybe a Sir and a Cole Clark. That's it. I mean, it's still a lot of stuff, isn't it? So it's you know, it's so hard. It's so hard with gear to like commit to something. I've committed to the idea of selling the Reverend, but it is. You're right. On paper, it's the perfect guitar, but it's just not the guitar I want to play. And this is a problem with all this stuff. This is a problem with any product. And I know it's stupid. I'm very aware of this. I know, you know, we can buy unbranded food for 1/10 of the price of the branded food. It's basically the same thing, but some of us want the branded food. We can buy Amazon jeans and not Levi jeans, but sometimes the Amazon jeans might be better. Certainly a lot more affordable, but you know, branding is a big thing. And all I can do is be honest and say, unfortunately, I have totally bought into branding. I just can't help it. Maybe one day I won't. Maybe one day I'll just say, screw this. I'm selling everything and just having the Rain Song and Harley Benton. I sold the Harley Bentons. The Harley Benton Fusion 3 was excellent. It had those modern things. That was the guitar. It had the 2-string trees on it. So it had all 4 strings, had string trees. It had a comfortable bridge. It had stainless steel frets. That's another thing that I think all companies should be using. And it had locking tuners. And it was $300 or $400. But I just knew I wouldn't play it. I knew whenever I do sit down to play at home, which isn't that often because I'm usually playing out, that I wouldn't pick it up. I knew I would pick up one of my other guitars, and that's why I let it go. Also, those guitars are affordable and on the market all the time, so I could always get another one. But I don't want it. I guess the point I'm trying to make in today's show is check out the affordable gear, check out the modern gear. It can be so much better than the other stuff, the branded stuff. But sometimes we just want, well, not we, I'm not going to speak for everyone watching this. You might all completely disagree with me, but I want the branded stuff, even though I know a lot of people making the branded stuff now are brand new employees, and there's a lot of quality control issues. I've seen a bunch of them myself lately from all the big brands. Even my Sir, like the tuners on my Sir are not good. The tuners on that Martin GBC a few months ago, remember that? They sent me another set. I still had some problems with them. I've seen so many quality brands. I saw some pictures the other day of some glue running down a Martin custom shop on the inside. Some metal shards in the fretboard. Everything. And then you get a guitar like a Reverend or even a Harley Benton, which is basically a higher quality build. I mean, there's no excuse for this stuff. But I still have certain thoughts in my head about the kind of stuff I want to play. So you can think I'm crazy for that, and you can think that's wrong, and I completely support that as well, because I know it is. I know, again, on paper it is wrong, but that's just how things are, and I can't change it. But what I'm not going to do is have a Fender and a Harley Benton and a Reverend and I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to make sure I only have, the things I need. I mean, I'd love a Silver Sky just because I'm a John Mayer fan, but I'm not going to play it. I had one, I didn't play it, I sold it. So let's change the topic, because I'm just sitting here like criticizing my life choices. Thank you for putting the cue noise. Output impedance of the HiFi. Oh God, I don't know. Oh, the output impedance. Well, basically, I don't know exactly what it is, but I can tell you it's not like the K&K. Because a passive pickup, like the K&K, it needs that impedance change, right? It needs the 1 megohm or half megohm impedance. The Baggs HiFi is active, so the output impedance is already taken care of. The reason I don't know it, because with a lot of gear I do look these facts up because people ask me about them or I want to put them in the video. The reason I don't know what it is on this one is it has a preamp built in. That's why it's got a battery. And you can what that means is you can basically plug that into anything. So you plug your guitar cable into the guitar, you then plug into any mixer, any speaker, anything. It will sound the same. It will just work, basically. A passive pickup or a more fussy pickup which isn't active, that is when you get the problems with different gear, because every time you plug it into something, it's saying, hey, what impedance you're looking for? And it might be a mismatch, and then you can get problems. Not even problems might be the wrong word, but you can get things that either work well or don't. It's unpredictable. I like things that are predictable when I play shows. So I keep reading, like people keep saying, I don't want a battery in my acoustic guitar. I kind of get it, because batteries can leak and they can add a few more ounces to the weight. I mean, does it really matter? But the convenience of walking into a room and plugging in and knowing you're going to get that sound. I mean, you've got the room and everything else to factor in and the gear you're playing through, but you're going to have that consistency. You're going to have that sound at the show versus a passive pickup where it's just a potluck, whatever you're plugging into. You can't do that. You can't be a working musician and gig with a passive pickup and no preamp. Because every time you go to a different room, you're just taking a lucky dip. So you have to either carry a preamp all the time or have the preamp in the guitar. And I prefer having the preamp in the guitar. But if you really want to know the answer to that question, I could text LR Baggs right now and ask them. The Gil Paris has a wider string space per his specs. It took me a bit used to. Now I love it. Yeah, there's that too. The string spacing of the saddle and the bridge. Yeah. Yeah. Some people like narrow. Some people like wide. The amount of people that say they can't play a Martin with the narrow nut. When we say narrow nut, we're talking about, under a what is that? Under a millimeter, like very small amount. And some people say, oh, I can't play it. It has to be the wider nut. But then I always think to myself, back in the old days when you had the narrow nuts, did people say, I can't play that guitar? I think I'm taking it too literally. When they say can't play it, I think they mean they'd rather not play it, because I don't think it means they can't play it at all. It's more of a choice thing. I think the problem now with gear is we just have too many choices. If you were around in the 1950s, if you could even find an electric guitar, you were in heaven. And you probably wouldn't find another one for the next 12 months, right? They were so rare. I don't know. I wasn't born in the 1950s, believe it or not. But they were so rare. And now we just pull up our phone and there's a bazillion instruments to choose from at all different prices. Chris says, I have 2 Reverends and love them. I think the Reverend name on the headstock is just as good as Fender, but that's just my opinion, man. Hey, yeah, like I said, I'm not here to argue about this stuff. I believe I'm actually the one in the wrong here, because for the reasons I've explained. The two guitars behind me, the Reverend on spec is a lot better, and the money is a lot less than the Fender. But I just want to play the Fender, and that Fender is cool, but it needs those mods that I mentioned earlier. So that's annoying. I really bugs me that I need to do those mods when I could just play a Reverend that's ready to go out of the box. But there we go. That's my choice, isn't it? And let's face it, Fender and Gibson, well, let's not go into too much detail about money and stuff, but the big companies, Martin, Fender, the big brands, are still making a lot of money based on their tradition. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But it is what it is. Marco says, I did about 200 gigs on a $150 second-hand Fender. Then I upgraded to a Harley Benton travel. There is really some truth in that. People start to respect your gear if they like your playing. Oh yeah, if you play a Harley Benton and nail the gig, then no one cares you're playing a Harley Benton. Remember, gear is for the player, not the audience. Right? Always. Now, there are times that the audience has said to me, your guitar sounds good, or blah, 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 blah. But the gear is for you. So, if I didn't care about... I mean, again, I do like the way the Fender feels. Some of this is psychological. I do like the way the Fender plays and feels and sounds. But I definitely have that stuff coming in my mind as well. The audience don't care. So, I mean, sometimes the audience will say, oh, it's a Fender. You know, they're not going to say, oh, what's that, Harley Benton? But then again, does that matter? It's the music that's first. I know, we know this. We know all this. But, you know. Doc says, I have a blue guitar nano cab coming tomorrow. Will pair nicely with the Amp 1. You're getting an Amp X, are you, my friend? It's not even released yet. The best thing I saw this week is the DT25 Rev Combo, because it's a 25-watt amp with 3-band EQ, built-in reverb, built-in low box, built-in speaker IRs. That's what I like traditional gear that also works in the modern kind of way. Ryan Longthorn, how you doing, Ryan? Longthorn, sorry. Having a great day? I am. Just very sleepy, but I'm doing great. Finally got around to... I like your logo. It's really in your face. RL. Finally got around to learning impulse responses using the Helix. Really enjoying creating rock presets at the moment. That's great. There's a new update for the Helix, which it's worth installing. Chris says, fair enough. Just chiming in. Hey, I said I'm not here to argue. I've just said this Reverend is great. This is a great guitar. But okay, let's put this into perspective. Just making a point here, Chris. I can't sell this guitar. This is a mint condition guitar that cost me $1,500, $1,600, I think at the time. I've had it on Reverb as low as $800, and no one has even shown an interest in it. And the only reason I'm saying this is that I believe if it was a Fender, it would have sold by now at a higher price. So I'm just using that as evidence, basically, to back up what I'm saying. I think, and I'm not saying it's good, I'm actually saying it's bad. I think a lot of people overlook. I know Cole Clark get overlooked. That's the instrument. The Cole Clark is actually what I've been using at my gigs the last 12 months. Right? I also do use the Martin with the Anthem as well, and I believe it sounds as good in a different way. But the Cole Clark is an outstanding tool for my shows. But you try and sell one, and you'll lose 50% of your money. Same with Reverend. With Reverend, I can't even get anyone to show any interest whatsoever in the guitar. They're all looking, I think, the same thing. So again, I feel bad saying this stuff about Fender and Martin, because I think it's a bad thing. I really believe that other companies are doing things better. And I think it's criminal that, for example, the resale value is so low on certain instruments. But then again, this stuff also breeds itself, doesn't it? Because if you think about it, if a Reverend doesn't have a good resale value, then a lot of players are going to buy the Fender. Because a lot of players want to sell the instrument down the line, so they're going to buy the Fender so that they can then resell it, which is also not a great idea either. Why not find an instrument that you want to keep forever? But nowadays we have so much choice with gear that we do like the idea of getting something else next year or next week or tomorrow or next hour. So a lot of this is just the problem of having too much stuff and people thinking about what they can resell, and resellers now are reselling everything and making a profit. And it's just a different situation now than what it was years ago, isn't it? An Aaron Short Fender signature. I don't know if I want one. I wouldn't mind an Aaron Short signature. I don't know actually. I was going to say Cole Clark, mate, but maybe I wouldn't mind a signature Rain song. I wouldn't mind a signature Cole Clark. Signature Fender? Well, a signature Fender for me would be a custom shop order. So maybe, yeah, actually. In fact, that's probably exactly what I need, isn't it? I really feel that way about Sir too. I played a lot of Sir guitars that are undeniably great instruments, but I just didn't connect with certain things about them. But the thing is, Sir has such a great configurator on their website, and that's really what they are. Sir are really a custom shop. So what you need, I think Sir are for people like me that I know exactly what I need on this guitar. I need this, 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 and this. This is what I need. So then you go to Sir and you tell them those things and they build you that exact guitar. So that's what that is. Whereas when you buy a Sir, usually you are buying essentially someone else's signature guitar, which you may or may not like things about it. So yeah, custom orders can be good, but then custom orders take a long time. Like with Fender and Martin, they're very expensive, and I've seen a few problems with custom Martins lately too. So I don't know. Zane says, Aaron, sometimes look to all the rooms and the shop are packed with all kinds of guitars and think and sell them all and just buy one 1936 historical Martin D20 or Les Paul. Yeah, I think about that too. I think about that all the time. Sell all the gear and have one electric, one acoustic, one PA system, and just make it work. But then I tell myself, okay, but I will need to keep a humbucker guitar. Okay. And then I will need to keep a large Martin and a small Martin. Okay. And then at that point, I'm like, well, I've now doubled everything. So then I give up. It's a bit like if you tell yourself you're going to go on a diet and you allow yourself one piece of chocolate that day, and then you give up and say, I can't diet. I'll start tomorrow. For me, this probably I might just be crazy, so ignore me. T says, I'm the same when it comes to branded gear, but a man wants what a man wants, and you have a better chance of getting a good resale or trade-in when you move it on. Yes, but I also think that's unhealthy too, that people are buying to sell. I really do, because we're not committing to instruments anymore, are we? So that's not necessarily a good thing. Chris says, very true, the resale sucks on them. People have no idea how good they are. That is where branding does come in for sure. Yes, well, I was just giving you my real world situation. I'm thinking about taking this one down to Guitar Center, and I think it'll be really interesting, because I don't mind the Guitar Center. When you trade in, they basically look at the quality of the instrument or whatever you're trading in. They look at previous sale prices. And then they offer you like 50% of that price. Now, some people hate that. I have no problem with it, because they've got to then sell it on for a profit, right? They're not a charity. But the interesting thing is, would they look at that $1,500 Reverend and tell me they've been selling for around $900, so we'll give you $450 or $400? Or will they look at it and I don't know. I'm guessing they would. And at $400, do I want to let it go? So that's why I have it on here sometimes and say, hey guys, if you live in America, you want to get the Reverend, you can buy it from me. So, just putting that out there. Ryan, how you doing? See a lot of Fenders. I get name recognition, but when I see band after band on stage with them, it loses its appeal. One guy went on stage with a G&L and grabbed my attention. Now, I do agree with that too. It's also nice to have an instrument that other people do not have. So that's where the custom thing comes in. It's also nice to have like it's good to have like a Martin or a Fender or a Gibson that's custom to you and no one else has. Or one step further, a different brand, of course. Because who wants to play what everyone else is playing as well? I'm a bit ashamed to say that I ended up choosing my Loudon over a lesser known one-man handmade instrument, which was in some ways a better guitar because of resale ability. Yeah, so we all do this, definitely. And when you get stung, you do it more, I suppose. When you can't sell something and you lose a load of money on it, then that's a problem. But it's also good on the flip side of that, if you're a fan, like Chris, that means you can pick up instruments very cheaply. Like when I got my first two Cole Clarks, I knew the guy that sold them to me is a friend of mine through the internet, so that helped as well. But I got really good prices on them, and so the same thing for Chris. Like you can buy those Reverends at a really good price because other people are not buying them. So that's in your favor. It's a bit like when gear prices go up and everyone complains about it. I say, well, yeah, but if you already own that piece of gear, that's a good thing, right? There's always two sides of every coin. T says, an Aaron Short signature Martin. I mean, what would that even be? I don't even know. So what I'd rather do is look for existing custom shop guitars that are unique, or if I know exactly what I want, then do it. And by the way, a lot of companies now have these amazing builders. So I want to show you the Sir builder because it's excellent. It looks incredible. The custom configurator. So they all have these now. Emerald actually have a giveaway right now. If you design a guitar, you can enter into a competition to win a prize. And Martin have it. Fender kind of have it, but not quite. But the Sir one is excellent. So what you do, like you choose the guitar you want. And I know John Sir is into his graphic stuff. So look at this. Look, that's the basic guitar, the stock guitar. Okay, I'll take myself off the screen. So this is the stock guitar instrument you would get from a regular dealer. But what you can do is you can say, right, I want a different color to start with. So I'm going to have this color. There we go. The Sonic Blue like mine. I'm going to have a satin finish. Interesting. I'm going to have, so all this stuff you see. Some things you can't change, but I mean, chamber it, make it lighter. You can put the input jack on the side. So a lot of the companies now that are selling direct are doing this. And it's really great because you can basically, look, you can see both sides. So if you know what you want, the problem with this is if you don't know what you want, it could be a real money pit. But if you're at the stage now where you know what you want from your guitar, then you can really make the guitar. So all the things I spoke about today that I want to change on my guitars, you could change them here. So for example, you could choose to have a bridge which is, see look, Fender Vintage 6-screw. So it's going to be uncomfortable, right? So you can have some that are more comfortable. You can have the locking tuners. And you can choose all that stuff. So you can do, let's see that, tuners, locking, or that's what I've got now, the Goto. These are awful. They don't work well at all. So I would get the locking ones anyway. So they're already on there. Okay. Mini keys, standard. So that's really a great way to go. And you know, Martin have this as well. The one on the Martin site isn't very good. It doesn't show you the guitar being updated in real time. Like this is done so well on here. Look at that. You can rotate it. You can flip it back and forth. And you can see exactly what guitar you're going to have at the end. And you can see the price. You can send it to a friend. Obviously, that price is more money than buying the basic one because you're paying for the custom features and the upgrades. So a lot of places are doing, a lot of websites are doing this now. And I think it's the way forward because you can see exactly what you're going to get. And you can design exactly what you're going to get as well. So I'm sure you've seen them. Emerald one is excellent. So good. Sir is good. The Fender Mod Shop is good. There's no Fender Custom Shop one yet. The Martin one is very antiquated. They need to fix that one. Sorry, it's just the truth. And there's some more I'm sure you put in the comments what the other ones are too. T says, I'm still building my collection. I find it very hard to sell any of them. But I keep telling myself they're a good investment when I'm waiting to pull the trigger. Well, the problem is, a lot of this depends as well, doesn't it? Like your situation and where you live. And I don't want to store stuff in an apartment. And I don't want to pay for storage either. I think that's silly to have like an external location where I store stuff, because it's silly for me because I know I'm never going to touch it, right? So I need the stuff to be accessible all the time. And the investment thing, you got to be careful with that, because like 10 years ago, if you bought a bunch of Martins, they would now be worth $600 each more, and you might make a few $100 on each sale. But some stuff also goes down in price as well. So that's a tough one. I don't like the idea of buying to invest. I think there's better things you can invest money into than guitars. Although having said that, there are some guitars that then jump up in value and are good investments. So I'm just going to stay neutral on that one. Finley, he makes the valve bucket guitar. Says, yeah, the configurators are so good now. And Kiesel. So Dr. McFarlane's been making a Kiesel, and their configurator is great. Let me just let's do one more. Let's do the Emerald, because they've got a competition right now. You design a guitar, and then you can enter into a competition. I think they either build you the guitar or they give you another guitar. And I remember seeing this one and thinking how amazing it looked. I think it's this one. Yeah, look, check this out. So build your custom. Yeah, look at that. This is I'm going to say this is the best configurator that I've seen. Look at that. Isn't that incredible? There's even a background. Look at that. And you can spin it any way you want. Look at that. This is how it's done, people. The light is even reflecting off the guitar. And you can even see inside the sound hole. Look at that. That is absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. And you can choose the options here. Choose the color. Well, they're doing high vibe now. I tried that. I didn't like it. No anthem. That's weird. I'm not a fan of these pickup systems they're using. I'd like to have an anthem option. But anyway, the configurator is excellent. Look, you can zoom in. Isn't that amazing? I could just sit here for hours just looking at this graphic. That's absolutely incredible. And everything reflects in real time. Look at that. That is absolutely amazing. I'm going to put that in as the best configurator around. If you know of a better one, let me know. And then this one, I was on this site yesterday. I'm not looking for another guitar, by the way. I just happened to be on this site yesterday because I wanted to see what the custom shop was up to. And here we go, build your Martin. So this, I really hope they update this one. If they can make this one look like that one, that would be amazing. Because on here, it just shows you, like, if you do this M, and then you select the M36, that's fine. And then look. The problem is if you say you want a cutaway, it doesn't do it, you see? You just get this picture. Whatever you change, it doesn't change. Oh, actually, it did change the picture there. Let's see if it does. I might be wrong. Oh, it does, but it doesn't show the colorway. So okay, but you know that. Compared to the Emerald, you know, that's not quite the same thing, is it? So I hope they update that one soon. The Sir one is awesome. The Emerald one is amazing. And the Kiesel one is awesome, I'm told as well. And yeah, I mean, one day perhaps we'll put a VR headset on and we'll just be looking and holding and playing the guitar. That'd be nice. Not looking for... I'm not David. I'm looking to get rid of some guitars. I promise. I just like to see what's going on, you know, keep up to date with these things. All right. So if we haven't got any more questions, I'm going to wrap it up because I'm back to work tomorrow. My one of my venues closed down to fix some things. I've been off the last couple of weeks from one of my venues. They're reopening this week, so I'll be back there twice a week. And I've got 3 gigs at the weekend, so I need to rest my voice. If you sing, don't overdo it, by the way. I don't feel I did overdo it. I only sang a total of about 6 hours at the weekend. I didn't do like 8 or 10 hours. I did like 5 or 6. But with all the like carrying the gear and taking the cabs and things and all that, mentally it's tiring mentally, isn't it, as well? So that's what it is. I do know some musicians that will not do more than like 2 consecutive days, and I think that's very sensible. You have to know how to pace yourself for sure, because if you damage your voice, or you know your voice is your instrument, if you damage it, then you can't do any gigs at all. So you've got to bear that in mind. I also blame the cats for waking me up for dinner at 4 a.m. But anyway, that's another story for another day. All right, so I'll let you know what happens with that stuff. I've ordered those parts. I'm going to install them. I'm going to do some myself, and some I'm going to have my tech do. So I'll let you know how happy I am with those things. But I really do believe that they're good. I think the locking tuners on the acoustic will be a big thing. They don't make locking tuners for like vintage style Martin tuners, unfortunately. But and my Martins tend to stay in tune anyway. But like the Cole Clark, because I do a lot of bending on it, I'm really excited to try the locking tuners on the Cole Clark. Yeah. No, it's not that, David. It's just really weird. Today I been hit by a truck. I'm not sick or anything. I just had a lot on at the weekend. That's all. I need to rest, so I'm going to cut today short. Thanks for joining me. Give me a thumbs up if you're new here. Subscribe and ring the bell. I appreciate it as always. Let me know this week. The HiFi pickup is shipping, so let me know this week if you get the HiFi pickup and what you think of it. I would love to know your input as well before I make my review. I mean, I've already got my thoughts on it that I'll be putting into the review, but it's nice to know what other people think of it as well, rather than just like looking at something in a, down a lens. I really want to know if other people have similar experiences to me or different. If they like it, if they don't, it'd be really interesting to know. Thank you, Rosanna. Thanks for moderating. Thank you. I will. I'm looking forward to being back at the venue again, especially now they fixed the AC. It's getting hot here, so it'd be nice to have AC again. But AC is also bad for the voice, dries it out. Oh, you're gigging as well? Awesome. Have a great gig. And yeah, as always, subscribe, ring the bell, turn notifications. I got some videos on the hard drive waiting to go up, so you'll just be notified when they go up or when they go live. And if I don't see you before live, I'll see you next Monday. So enjoy your week, enjoy your guitars. Let me know if you get any new gear or anything, or try the new pickup or anything this week. And leave a comment in the video. And I look forward to seeing you next week. So great. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Thanks, Lee. Awesome. All right. I'll see you all soon. Thanks for being here. Take care and be well. Bye-bye.
I'm not lost, but I'm not found. I'm not up, but I'm not down.